So, good afternoon, students. Welcome back to Lattice Theory live lecture. In this lecture, we will discuss about the diagram representation of poset or lattice. Then we also discuss some algebraic properties of lattices. For example, homomorphism. Then what is meant by isomorphism, isotone map, etc. Okay. So, start with quickly recall what we did yesterday. So yesterday Yesterday, if you see here, we have discussed about two definitions of lattices. Then we have seen how we can go from lattice as a poset to lattice as an algebra. Then, if you from that lattice as an algebra, if you go to lattice as a poset, you will see that you have come back to the original one. And then we have defined at the end we have defined what is meant by a. If it is not a lattice, we can define something called semi-lattice in the form of meet and join. Okay, so meet semi-lattice and join semi-lattice, right? Uh, Now you then we have discussed some examples, right? Now we move to this lecture, that is 6. So in this we will be discussing the following things. First, so today we will be discussing diagram of poset, or you can in particular diagram of a lattice. So for this, we already seen that any poset we can represent in the form of, so if a, you can call it L or P, whatever. Suppose this is a poset, then we can represent in the form of pairs. Same thing you can represent as set of pairs of something, call it, you can call it A comma B, where A is related with B. This is also a representation, right, that we have seen. For example, if I take quickly, if I take my set L as elements 0, A, B and 1, okay, then this by relation, if we write all this in this way, 0 comma 0, yes, 0 is related to 0, and 0 is related to every element, 0 comma A, 0 comma B, then 0 comma 1, and then there is no relation between A and B, but A comma 1 is there, okay, and B comma 1 is also there. Of course, A comma A will be there, B comma B will be there, and 1 comma 1 will be there. Whether any other elements are there in this, if we write, these are the elements, right? But we can, because it is a poset, we no need to write these elements. These are all understood, because as a poset we know that every time x is less than or equal to x, so we will try to remove such elements. That means we don't represent, we will try to represent, we no need to write this, not necessary. So this we will try to omit. Similarly, this we will try to omit, such elements we will try to omit. Then what here one more element you can write here, this set, there is a 0 comma 0 comma 1 is written here. Fine. Also, by using transitive property, what is meant by transitive property? If x is less than or equal to y and y is less than or equal to z, then by default x is less than or equal to z. So we no need to write this x comma z when x comma y is there and y comma z. If these two are there already in that set, then there is no point of writing this one. It is already there, right? That means we are trying to reduce the number of elements in this representation, right? So for example, here 0 comma 1 is not necessary to mention. Why 0 comma 1 is not necessary to mention? Because 0, no, Yeah, 0 comma a and a comma 1 is there. Very good. So therefore 0 comma 1 we don't need to mention this one, right? So if we remove such elements and put only required elements, then it you can understand better things. Okay, so this you can write as what? You can write this as this relation. Now 0 comma a, 0 comma b, okay, and a comma 1, b comma 1. So earlier we have more than 8 elements like that, 9 elements. Now we have reduced to just 4 elements. Okay, so this lattice we can represent in this. So how we'll represent this in the form of diagram? How we can represent this in the form of diagram? For this, we again define here. We'll define what is meant by covering. So take a comma b are two elements in this set or lattice. Then we say A covers B, or this also you can write as B is covered by A. Both are same meaning. A covers B or B is covered by A if A covers B means first of all A should be bigger. So B is strictly less than A with respect to that relation. And there is no X, or you can call it C or whatever, such that between B and A there won't be any X. Okay, so B is less than, X is less than A. So if no X is satisfying this condition, then we say that A covers B. So strictly speaking, between A and B there should not be any element. If we cannot put any element between A and B, then we say that A covers B. And we'll denote this by A covers B. So you can call it this symbol, okay, just like some open this set, or you can also write in the just like less than or greater than, but there is slight, this symbol is there. Is this clear? That means just like B is sitting inside A like that, right? This is the notation we will use whenever to say it is cover. It is just like this one, but what is the difference is that between A and B there is no other element. So for that we just write here. Is this notation clear? This is the notation. Either we use this or any one of this is represents same. Okay. So while writing, make sure whenever we say this is just not more. It is some extra than less than symbol, that there is no element between them. Okay. Fine. Now how we will represent diagram? Then we will go to some properties and so on. So diagram of a poset. Diagram you can represent for poset, not just only lattice. So take elements from that poset, then you represent elements with circles. Okay, so represent elements with you can call it some small circles, and X and Y, any two elements are connected, and two elements X and Y are connected, say suppose by a straight line, if they are if one covers the other, if suppose if either X covers Y or Y covers X, but if X covers Y, then the circle, the whatever circle we are representing, the representation of X should be higher or above than Y. Then representation of X is higher than Y. Okay. Just understand with an example. What is meaning of this? So let's have an example which says that we will take this whatever earlier we have discussed, this same example, this 0a 0b ab and b1, a1 and b1. So what is the meaning of this? Among all these elements, what are all covers we have to write? So you can see here 0, so 0 comma, you can write this a covers 0 or not. A covers 0, also b also covers 0, okay, and 1 covers a and b, okay. One covers a and b, right? Remaining all you cannot see, you don't have. For example, is question is 0 is covered by 1? Is 0 is covered by 1? This poset whatever we have, is 0 is covered by 1? No, because between 0 and 1 you can see that 0 and a and 1, that means between 0 and 1 a is there or not? Similarly, between 0 and 1 b is also there. Are you following? So because of that, this 1 is not covering 0, is not, because since 0 and 1, between 0 and 1 a is there, also between 0 and 1 b is also there. Is this clear? So therefore this 0 and 1 you don't have any line between 0 and 1. So therefore how we will represent? Therefore our diagram of that is, will put 0, then because 0 is covered by a should be higher than 0, okay. Are you following? We'll put small circle here to just represent, then we should draw a straight line. Is this clear? It should be, that element should be higher than the element, right? Similarly 0 is also covered by b, so therefore b should be higher than, so whatever b should be higher than 0. Then what else other elements we have? 1 is there, 1 covers a as well as b, so therefore 1 should be higher than a as well as b, okay. Yes, now you can see that 0 and 1 we should not have any straight line, because 0 is not covered by 1, because in between a is there. Are you following? Now whether is there any element a and b, is there any line? No, because a and b are not at all comparable, first of all, right? Neither a is less than or equal to b, or b is less than or equal to a, so therefore there won't be any line between this. Is this clear? So this is, you can also call it as Hasse diagram. So in Hasse diagram, minimal relations will be there. You can call it, this is a covering relation. Whatever we are writing here, this is a covering, because it is only about elements we have, whatever lines we have represented, they are actually cover, one element covers the other. So you can call it this covering relation here. What is covering relation? Simply 0 a, okay, or we will try to write, in the form of that relation. So 0 is covered by a and 0 is covered by b, okay, and a is covered by 1, b is covered by 1. Is this clear? So if you have these four relations, then you have entire diagram. You can also write which implies the other answer. Okay. Now one can ask question by having this relations, whatever we have this lattice relations, from that we have got this covering relation. Now question we can ask, if we have a covering relation, that means you have elements and which element covers the other. Can we get all the relation elements among all relation is the question. So that is true for finite lattices or finite posets. Finite lattice, that means if you have a poset which is finite, and if you have a covering relation, then you can give relation between two elements whether there is a relation or not. See, whenever you have a relation between two elements, from this you can easily get covering relation by simply seeing whether between those two elements any other element is there or not. Now our question is reverse one. That means if I have some relation given to us, covering relation, then can we have which element is less than the other and so on. That is possible for finite thing. So let you can call it P be a you can write this relation be a finite poset. So take a finite poset. For finite poset, this is possible. That means from covering relation, you can actually give the relation elements. Then that is then A is less than or equal to B. This is relation here. If and only if in term of covering we will give. That means either A is equal to B. This is obvious. Or if A is not equal to B, then in between you will find some elements. If and only if A is equal to B, or first let me write statement, then we will understand. Or there exists x naught, okay, up to x n minus 1. They are again in B, such that your A is basically your x naught and B is x n minus 1, and each xi, okay, each xi is covered by xi plus 1. Okay, that is how you can write A, which is equal to x naught, then x naught is covered by x1, x1 is covered by x2, and so on. The other one is xn minus 1, which is nothing but B. Okay, so what is this statement? If A is related to B, A is less than or equal to B, then either A is equal to B, or you will between A and B you will have some elements which are actually covering relations. Is this clear? So whatever you have here is actually a covering relation. So you can see that whatever we are having here, these are all covering relation, not just less than. That means you can put some elements between A and B such that no further elements will be here. Are you following? Okay. So whenever you have this relation, then you can also claim that this between A and B, if you have some covering relation, you can say that A is less than or equal to B. So before proving this, let's go back to this result and try to understand this one. So what it says here, how we can understand that theorem with this example is that here we know that between 0 and 1, you can write like this: 0 is there, then 0 covers A and A covers 1. From this diagram, this is clear or not? From this diagram, whether 0 covers A and A covers 1, right? So you can write that 0 is less than or equal to 1, because whenever you have a covering relation, then you can always say that this element is less than or equal to. Similarly, you can say that 0 is covered by B and B is covered by 1. So therefore 0 is less than or equal to 1. You can give relation among all elements, whatever you have here, whatever relations we have here, all those things relations you can give directly from this one. That is the statement of this theorem. Is this theorem clear? Statement. I repeat again. What is this theorem? You take any finite poset, then if you take two elements A and B, then A is less than or equal to B if and only if, obviously if A equal to B, there is nothing to prove. If A is strictly less than B, then there exists finite number of elements such that there is a covering relation between A and B. Are you following? So whenever you have a covering relation between A and B, you can say that A is less than or equal to B. And whenever A is less than or equal to B, then there is a covering relation. Are you following? We'll call it just covering relation to make sure that in between there are no other elements. Fine. Let's prove this. First we prove whichever is easier. Okay. So suppose assume that there is such a relation. Suppose there is something like, you can call it, there exists some n such that A is equal to x naught, covering the relation this one, x1, x2 and so on xn minus 1, which is b. Now what we want to show? We want to show that a is less than or equal to b, right? Okay. So how we'll do that? First, you can see that this you can prove by induction, in the sense, if it is true for 2, then you can prove that whenever even it is for n, it is true, right? So that means take a is equal to x naught is covered by x1 is covered by x2, which is call it b. That means we are proving for n is equal to 3 here. Are you following? Is this clear? So suppose assume this. Then we want to prove that in this case a is less than or equal to b. How a is less than or equal to b in this case? Huh? How you will get from this to a is less than b? A is less than b by using transitive property. What is the meaning of this x naught, which is a, right? Which is a. We know that is strictly less than a1. That means there is no element between a and x1. So in particular, a is less than x1 or not. Similarly, x1, okay, is covered by x2. So there is no other element between x1 and x2, or in particular x1 is less than. Now using transitive property, what you can write? A is less than. Is this clear? A is less than B. See, you have to understand the covering relation and a normal relation, right? Normal relation, in between there may be so many elements also. So this is obvious. What we are proving is actually obvious. If you have already a covering relation, then by simply applying transitive relation, you will get that there is a normal relation. Are you following? Whether you are connected? Hello? Yes. Now you can do it this far by applying induction. That means if now we know that if x1 is less than x2 and x2 is less than x3, then x1 is less than x3 and so on, right? Or if you have a which is equal to x naught, x1 up to xk minus 1. If you assume induction for any k minus 1, then what we know is that we are getting a is less than xk minus 1, right? Now if you have, now if our relation is a is equal to x naught covered by x1, then covered by x2 and so on, xk minus 1, then covered by xk, or if you want you can write it xk, which is b, right? Then how a is less than b here? Here by applying induction up to from here to here, what we are getting here is that a is less than xk minus 1 and xk minus 1 is less than xk, which is nothing but b. Now again using transitive property, what you get here is a is less than b, right? So it is very simple. Just for writing it, it looks like this. But what you should understand is, if you have a covering relation, then definitely you have a less than b is always true. That you can prove it using this simple induction and using transitive property, right? What is not that trivial is converse. So now assume that assume that a is less than or equal to b, but a is not equal to b. That means assume a is less than, a is strictly less than b for a comma b is in. Now what we have to prove? This way we are proving. We are assuming something and we are proving this, right? What we have to show? We have taken two elements, one less than the other. We want to somehow get elements x naught up to xn minus 1 satisfying this relation, covering relation. How we do the is the following. The idea is very simple. We'll try to take the largest possible chain starting from A to and ending to B. So we are going to take that chain and that chain will be our relation. Okay, that is the idea. So idea is what? Because A is already related with B, we will try to see what maximum chain is possible here. Starting A and B. That means if at all any elements if we can put it, we will put it and we will consider that. So if we quickly see this 0 comma 1, right? 0 is less than 1. So if 0 is less than 1, what is the chain you can provide? 0 is less than 1, then what is the chain you can provide? Is simply is less than 1. Or you can provide 0 less than b is less than. Is this clear? So we are trying to put whatever elements is possible, then take that. That is going to be your covering chain. Why we want to take maximal? Once you take maximal, then between these two elements, we cannot put any other element. So therefore, covering automatically exists, right? Okay. So how we do that? So start with let H be a chain, okay? Or you can call it consider all just for understand. Let H be a chain, okay? In P, starting with A, starting with A and ending with B. So that means how it look like. So your that is some H just look like A you will have, and in between you will have some elements, and B. Is this clear? Because chain means any two elements are comparable, so you can put it in this way. Now what we do is we will consider such chains. We will consider all such possible chains. In this example, there are two chains possible between 0 and 1. Okay, 0, 3 actually, 0 A naught 1, 0 B and 0 and 1 also, right? These three, because that is also comparable. Among these, we will consider all these things and we will find the largest possible. Okay. Yes. So just for example, one such H you can take as A less than or equal to B. That means you can take the set with these elements. Just you are taking elements of that chain HBA, elements of chain in P starting with A and ending with B. So you can take obviously these two elements also, and you can consider all possible such chains and consider their elements. Among that, we will consider the maximum thing. So then it is possible in a finite case. Whenever you consider all possible, because of finite, you will have only finitely many such possible things. And among that, you take the maximum number of elements. So among such chains, consider the largest one and call it H. Okay, so what is meant by this? So that we are calling it as again H. So whatever H we are calling, that is the largest possible chain. There may be two chains also. We are calling it as whichever is largest, that we are taking. And important thing is the starting point is A and end point is B. In between you have some elements, right? So then denote that H by elements of H by, suppose x naught, x1 up to xn minus 1. Then what we know about this H? Then and you can also, because it is a chain, you can compare any two elements. By comparing any two elements, if suppose x naught is not less than x1, by rearranging them, what you can assume that, so without loss of generality I can write here, without loss of generality we can assume that x naught is less than x1 is less than x2 up to xn minus 1. Is this clear why we are assuming like this? Because it is a chain, we know that any two elements are comparable. So if at all suppose x3 and x2 are like this, then you rename this to x2 and this one to x3. Is this clear? So by simply renaming these elements, you can make sure that x naught is less than x1, x1 is less than x2 up to xn minus 1, right? So we have, that's why we, without losing any information, we can do that. It is possible. Okay. Now, and also here what we have here is this is our A, because it is a chain. It should start with A and it end with B. That is what our assumption, right? Now, thing is, we can prove that whatever chain we got, this is actually a covering relation. Why this is a covering relation? We can observe that this each xi is actually covered by xi plus 1. Why this is true? If at all, we know each xi is less than xi plus 1. If at all, if there exists some x in that element P such that xi is less than x is less than, if at all there is an element between xi and xi plus 1. Okay. If at all there is an element x between xi and xi plus 1, then we get a contradiction to what we have assumed. What is that? Our h is what? Our h is largest. So now, can you give a chain, another chain which is bigger than h? Then you take all elements of h together with this x. If you take these two elements, h together with this element, then it is also a chain or not? Is also a chain, right? Starting with A and ending with B, right? Is this clear? Because your x is in between xi and xi plus 1. So you can write here, this is true for every I. So how we are proving it? If at all there exists P for some I, then we are getting that H union X is also a chain starting with A and ending with B, but definitely this has more elements than H or not, which contains more elements than H, which is a contradiction. Is this clear? Why this is a contradiction? This has this H has n elements, so obviously this H union X has n plus 1 elements, which is also a chain. So that contradicts to our assumption that the way we have selected our H is the largest among all such possible chains. So this contradiction is arised because of what? Because of we have assumed that there is some x between xi and xi plus 1. Is this clear? So therefore this cannot be possible, and hence this is true. This is true. Is this clear? So therefore we have a covering relation. That means hence we have this A, which is nothing but x. We can write now x naught is covered by x1 and x1 is covered by x2 and covered by xn minus 1, which is b. Is this clear? So that shows that whenever A is less than B, we can definitely find elements, intermediate elements, such that one is covered by the other. Right? Fine. This is the theorem, which for it is only true for finite this thing. Can you see where we have used this finite one? If you see in this statement, where we have used this finite case. Huh? Can somebody think where we have used this finite? What is the problem if we take infinite here? Why can't be this is true for any poset? This is possible. This is possible only the existence of such H is possible only in finite thing. If it is not finite, if your poset is not a finite poset, then there is no guarantee that such largest is possible. Is this clear? So that is the reason, if it is a finite poset, then there will be only finitely many elements will be there in your poset. So once you have a finitely many elements, then starting with A and ending with B, that combinations you will also have only finitely many. So because of that finitely many, you can select largest set possible among finitely many. Is this clear? Are you following? If you have infinite number of elements, then there may be possible that you will have infinite number of chains starting with A and ending with B. then among that it may not be possible to find the largest one. Is this clear? There, in this point, we are using the finiteness case. Okay. Now let's go to next one. So this result is interesting in the sense, if you have a covering relation, we will can go back to whenever you have a covering relation, then they are actually related. Whenever they are related, then you have a covering relation, right? So let's see one or two examples or something. Okay, let's see some example. How we can there are two examples we'll discuss which will be used throughout this lectures. Okay, they are very interesting examples. First one is n5 we will denote. Okay, so you will call it this n5. This is a set. You can call it 0, a, b, c and 1, or you can call it o and I also, no problem. Okay, and the diagram I will write here, and we will see what is this look like. This is 0. Okay, here I will write b, and then a. Here you will have 1, and here you will have c. Okay, so my lines are not so good. We want to represent with respect this circle. Okay, then we are giving name. Whatever we call it, this is a you can check that it is a lattice, and this is denoted by n5. It's also called pentagon lattice. Okay, and the other one lattice which we will draw here is, you can call it m3, like diamond. Elements you can represent same, but their relation is different. That relation is, here you will have 1 and 0. Here you will have a, b and c. Not being symmetry. What I will write here is, I'll try to put it equal way. Okay. Now I can write 0 and 1, and I will write this as a, this as b, c. Okay, I will connect this. Whatever this is called, you can call it a diamond. That is okay. Now we will try to represent with respect to join and meet. Okay, these are how you can tell me what is meet of this a and c, because it is a lattice. What is meet of a and c? What is a meet c? What is, if you take a and c here, what is meet of a and c? Huh? What is meant by meet? Meet of two elements. A meet c is 0. Okay, why? It is the greatest lower bound you require. For c, what is the lower bound? G. For a, lower bound is b, but we want b is not a lower bound for c. Is this clear? Right? So we'll try to represent this one in the following relations. This entire diagram you can represent this. One is clearly a covers b, a covers b. Okay, that means b is covered by a. This is one relation, or you can call it b is less than a also, because there is no strictly element. You can write just a relation. I'll write here b is less than a, and if I define a meets c, we know this a meets c here is 0. Okay, and b joins c, b joins c is 1. If with these three relations, you will get each and every relation here. Let's see why, how you will get relation. What can you, if you have these three relations, you can get remaining all elements. That means, for example, if I define like this, A meets C is uh, uh, say this diagram either you write or you write in this way, both are same, right? If you have these three relations, then you actually you can draw this diagram. If you have this diagram, you can write these things, right? But what can you say about other for example, b meets C? How you can write, how you can show that B meets C is 0? By using these three, by using these three, these are the relations, these relations identify remaining all other relations. So if I want to calculate what is B meets C using only these three relations, from this picture we know that B meets C is 0 or not. But how will prove that? How will prove that? By using this A, B is less than A and A meets C is 0, B joins C is 1. So how we can calculate B meets C is the question, using only these three relations. What we know about, sorry? How? Because B is less than A, you can write B as B intersection A or not? Because B is smaller, right? So B is less than A is same as B is equal to B meet A. Are you following? So what I am saying, because B is less than A, this implies B is actually is same as B meet A. Is this clear? Huh? No, B meet A. B is so therefore B meet C I can write as B meet A. In place of B I can use this. But now what I know is, I know that A meet C is 0. So this is 0. Okay, but B meet 0 is 0. Is this clear? 0 is in such a way that it meets with every element, you get that one. 1 is in such a way that when you join, you get that one, right? Similarly, you can try for B join C is there. So you can also check with A join C. Similarly, you can see that A join C is 1. Why? Using this B join C and this relation, you can do it. Is this clear? If B join A join C is, in place of A, what I will write is A join B, because A is less than B, so A join B is same as A or not? Then you have C. Okay, but this is same as A join, what is this? B join C. But our B join C is what? Given to be 1. So A join 1, but A join 1 is nothing but 1. Is this clear? Okay. So you will get all the relations once you have these three relations. So you can say that this pentagon N5 is actually, so therefore this N5 is you can say is identified or is uh, classified or is understood, classified using these three relations. What are they? That B is less than A and meet of A and C is 0 and meet of B and C is A meet C is 0 and B join C is 1. Right? Similarly, you can check about this. See, whenever we use this 0 and 1 or O and I, this 1 is maximum, 1 is an upper bound for each and every element and 0 is a lower bound for each and every element. That is understood. Okay. That's why here we have written B meet 0 is 0 and A join 1 as 1. Right. Here what relations you can define similarly? By this picture, if you can define some relations, here obviously if I define A meet B is 0, right? Because meet of these two I should define as 0. But if I have this, I cannot say anything about, what can you say about B meet C, right? So I should also define, that means no way I will get from relation of B meet C from A meet B. Is this clear? Earlier, because A and B they have some relation, so if you have A and C, then you got B and C relation. Are you following? So if you have B and C relation, because A and B are related, you also got relation for A and C. But whereas here A, B, C, these three are not having any relation. So whatever you have to define those relations. Otherwise, you cannot have it. Similarly, what you can define here is A join B is 1 and B join C is 1. A join C is 1. These 6 relations you require to get this one. Even if you drop any one, then you cannot have. Suppose if you don't write A join C is 1, then using these two you cannot get A join C. Is this clear? You, because A, B, C, those three elements are not comparable, you should have independent relations among those three, right? Whereas here, because this A and B, they have some relation, namely B is less than A. So you don't need to define all in the form of A meet B, A join B, all those things, right? If you have A meet C, then you can define, you can get it B meet C. Whereas if you have B join C, then you have A join C, right? This pentagon, this is another one. This is diamond lattice, which we denote by M3. These are the two important lattices which you will see again and again when you are giving some counter examples and so on, right? Whether these two examples are clear, the diagram representations, one is N5, other one is M3. What you should do understand here is both having 5 elements, but their relation is different. These relations are, this is the relation for this, whatever we have here is relation for this pentagon, and whatever relations we have here is here. Whatever we are having, this is relation for diamond lattice. So whenever you talk about diamond lattice, either you use this picture or you use this relation. Whenever we are talking about pentagon, either you use this picture or use these three relations. Okay, those will be identified in that way. These are about diagram and covering relation, all those things, right? Now we quickly go to, of course there are some definitions which I can just simply define it here, and later whenever we are getting, you may have some relation like this. See, suppose if we have a lattice, okay, it may be possible that, suppose it may be possible that you have something like this. Okay, so these two lines are intersecting here. It doesn't mean that it is an element here. Okay, so in a lattice, so in lattice or in a poset, when we are representing in the form of diagram, it may be happen that two lines may be intersecting. In a poset, two lines may intersect. So you should understand that this is not an element. Are you following? This is just intersection of those two lines, but it is not an element of that lattice or poset. But if there are no such two lines which are intersecting, then that lattice, we will call it, or a poset, we will call it as the diagram. Whatever diagram is called planar diagram. Okay, so we will define what is meant by planar diagram if no two lines. Okay, it's called planar diagram if no two lines intersect. Is definition clear? What is meant by, we say, when we say some diagram is a planar diagram? For example, this is not a planar. Okay, so assume first of all this should have a poset and so on. It should have all relations, but just to represent, because of this one, I have written that example. Okay, is this clear? Now if you come to here, is this planar one? Is this planar or not? Huh? This is a planar, right? Why? Because no two, here you can see that no lines, any two lines if you take, okay, so whenever you have later you will see some diagrams and so on, you can see whether something is a planar or not, right? we will see later next class. That is the algebraic property, some algebraic relations we will see for posets, lattices, and so on. First thing, what is meant by this algebraic relations and so on? You might be knowing if you have groups, then when you have two groups, then group homomorphism you can talk about, isomorphism you can talk about, right? Similarly, when you have posets or lattices, what can you say about there? Whether can we talk about homomorphism between them, or can we talk about isomorphism between posets or lattices and so on, right? So that we will define here. So you start with, we will denote this script letters just to call it L naught, and you have this poset, right? Lattice, and L1 you can take it L1 and two relations. These two relations may be different. You should understand them. Then suppose take these two are lattices. Okay. Then we can define a map phi maps from L0 to L1. You can call it into. Okay. Phi maps from L0 into L1. This map we will call it. We will define several things. Suppose you define what is meant by homomorphism or mid homomorphism or lattice homomorphism. So join. So we will define this as mid uh, homomorphism if what should be the guess, you take any two elements here A and B and take their mean and then apply phi of this one. That means I am taking A and B in L0 and I am applying meet of that. I am considering meet of A and B and I am looking its image. That should be same as you individually you take phi of A and you take phi of B, then you take yes. So if at all it should be true for all A comma B in L0, then we say it is a mid homomorphism. Is this clear? Right? Similarly, you can define another definition. Another definition is similarly join phi is join homomorphism if what should be the condition that phi of A join B. This should be same as phi of A join phi of B for every A and B in L0. Is this clear? Right? And if at all both conditions are true, then we say that phi is a homomorphism if phi is both meet and join homomorphism. So if you combine mathematically, how you will write, that is same as, that is if phi of A meet B is phi of A meet phi of B and phi of A join B is phi of A join phi of B. If it is true for every A and B in L0, then we say that it is a homomorphism between lattices. Is this clear? Okay. Now, if this map phi, this map, if you have L0 and L1 both are same, that means if phi, a homomorphism phi from set to that lattice to itself, then we say it is a endomorphism, right? So what is endomorphism here? What is meant by endomorphism? A homomorphism phi maps from L to L. Any homomorphism from that same lattice to itself is called a endomorphism. Is this clear? Now you know what is meant by isomorphism. Any bisective phi maps from L0 to L1, a homomorphism, not only homomorphism, and it should be bisective. Is this clear? So if that map should be 1 1 and on 2, and if it is a homomorphism, then we say it is a isomorphism. Is this definition clear? Then what is meant by an automorphism? What is meant by an automorphism? An isomorphism from that lattice to itself. If at all it is an isomorphism, then we say it is a automorphism. That means an isomorphism from a lattice to itself is called an automorphism. Is this clear? And whenever they are isomorphic, here, whenever they are isomorphic, we will denote L0 is isomorphic to L1. This is the notation. Is this clear? Now, when it comes to posets, we have a lesser one. So you take poset P0 and P1. They are two posets. Because for posets, you may not define what is this join and meet. When we have lattice, you have join and meet. Okay. So here you will define what is meant by order preserving a map. So another definition is that a map phi from P0 to P1. When they are posets means you should understand that there is some relation on P0 as well as an relation on partial relation on P1. Is called isotone, or also you can call it monotone, or you can also call it order preserving. So three names are all same. If you take, whenever you see what is meant by saying two elements are comparable here, if A is less than or equal to B. So whenever A is less than or equal to B, then what we should expect that when you take their images phi of A and phi of B, they also should be having relation in P1. Are you following? So if whenever A is less than or equal to, that means whenever you have two elements are related here, if they have order relation, partial order, then that ordering should be preserved here also. That means phi of A should be less than or equal to phi of B. Is this clear? If you want, you can write this as if or not. Is definition of an isotone clear? Is definition of an isotone is clear? It says that whenever two elements are related here in our poset, but then their images should also related here. Then we say it is isotone or monotone. You can see that whenever A is less than B, then phi of A is less than or equal to phi of B. Okay, or it also called it as order preserving. You can have a small exercise and prove if you have all these definitions. Then small exercise is that you take any meet homomorphism or join homomorphism or a homomorphism, they all will become isotones, isotone maps. Okay, that means either the join or the meet or simply homomorphism implies it is isotone. Is a statement clear? What is meaning of this? If you take any map which is a join homomorphism or which is a meet homomorphism or a homomorphism, that means which is both, then it is always implies isotone. If you prove that join homomorphism implies isotone or meet homomorphism implies isotone, then obviously homomorphism implies isotone is obvious, because if it is something is a homomorphism, then it is join homomorphism as well as meet homomorphism. So how you can prove this? How we can prove this? How we can prove this? Suppose you start with how we can prove here. Hint is what? Hint for proving this. You take suppose phi maps from L0 to L1, which is a join homomorphism. Then you want to prove that it is a isotone map. So you should start with what? What is definition of isotone? Whenever two elements are there which are related, then you want to show that their images are related. So start with A less than or equal to B, right? Then somehow you should, if I want to use a join homomorphism, what we should know? Join or meet homomorphism, what we should do it? Join homomorphism means you should have in the form of join of elements, right? So somehow you should write A join B and use the value of phi of A join B. So if A is less than or equal to B, then what we know about A join B? So phi is join homomorphism implies what we get here is actually phi of A join B is, by definition, it is phi of A join phi of B. But what can you say about A join B when A is less than or equal to B? When A is less than or equal to B, what can you say about A join B? So how you can simplify this? A join B is B itself. Okay, is this clear? Because A join B from a lattice, how you are getting join is supremum of that. So supremum is nothing but B. This we have seen several times, right? So A join B is same as B. So therefore, if you substitute here, what you will get here is phi of B is same as phi of A join phi of B. But from this, what you can understand? From this, what you can conclude? Joining of these two elements is the other element. It means which is bigger? Phi of A join phi of B is phi of B you are getting. So when you are joining these two elements, you are getting this, means phi of A is less than or equal to phi of B or not. That proves that you started with A less than or equal to B, right? We proved that phi of A is less than or equal to phi of B. Therefore, phi is an isotone map or not, right? Now your exercise is you prove it for meet. So that is your exercise. It is very simple. Are you following? So start with a meet homomorphism, prove that it is isotone, right? Is that clear? Now I'll give us one more exercise, then we stop here. Your second exercise is I'll try to draw some pictures. Okay, you note down that pictures and get relation between meet, which is meet homomorphism, which is join homomorphism, and which is uh, both, means homomorphism. Okay, so consider the following diagrams, okay, or maps you can call it. Their maps, following maps as shown as diagrams. First one is my diagrams are very poor. Let's draw it. We have a 4-element lattice. Okay, that is, then we are mapping this to, we are mapping this to a 3-element, you can call it this chain, right? The following way. Are you following? See, you have this is, you can call it L0 and you can call it this is L1. And how you are mapping? You map this element to this, okay, and this element to here, this element to this, and because here every element should be mapped, so I will map this element to. Is this clear? What is meaning of this? So these two elements are mapping to this one, and here is mapping to this. This is the map. Are you following? I can remove this inside so that you will have, don't have confusion. Okay. Is first of all clear what is meaning of this one? This is your picture one, diagram one, right? Now I'll try to draw another diagram with same L0 and L1, but this time this mapping is little different. Okay. So our 3-element set is this time. This is L0 and L1. What I will do here is this time I will map here. Okay. Then this is this element I will map to here, and here I will map it as it is. This is your figure 2. That means these two elements now are mapping to this lower element, and the other one is right here. Same lattices, and you have a chain, 3 elements. Now what I will do here is I will map these 2 elements, this one, and I will map these 2 elements. So All elements are mapped. Is this clear? Only I left this element here. Now check, this is L0, this is L1, this is your figure 3. Now check whether this figure 1 is, what is your problem to check? Check uh, which one is meet homomorphism among all these three, and which are all join homomorphisms. I'll explain how, and which are all homomorphisms, which are neither, which is not a meet homomorphism, which is not a join homomorphism, which is not a homomorphism. What is meant by, try to understand this for a minute. For example, take this element. Where is this element is going to? So for understanding, what you do here is you try to give some names here. For example, I'll write here as some A, okay, B, C, and D. This you write as E, F, G, right? So in this one, what is meet of B and C? So if you want to check meet homomorphism, for example, what is B meet C in this example? A. Okay. So just I will explain here. B meet C is A, right? So if at all it should be a meet homomorphism, what we should expect? Phi of B meet C. We should have phi of B meet phi of C. Now tell me, here phi of B meet C is phi of A, right? Because B meet C is A. So where is A is going here in this picture? These are all your phi. This is a map. What is phi of B? What is phi of B? Where is B is going to? E, right? So whether this is the true or not, that is what we have to check. Is this clear? So phi of B meet C is phi of A, because B meet C is A, and where is A is going to? G. Is this clear? A is going to G, so phi of A is G. What about phi of B? Meet phi of C. That means where is B is going to? B is going to E, and C is going to what? F. F. So E meet F. Now what is E meet F in this chain? In this chain, because E is bigger than F, so obviously meet is smaller one, right? So E meet F is F. Are you following? So because this G and F are different, what you get here is, therefore what you observe is that this is not equal to phi of B meet phi of. Are you following? Are you following or not? So at least for two elements, you have seen that this meet is not working. So therefore this figure 1. So what you have to conclude is, therefore this figure 1, whatever we are having that map, is not a meet homomorphism, right? Now you have to check for join homomorphism. Obviously, because it is not a meet homomorphism, it cannot be a homomorphism. But what you can ask is, can it be a join homomorphism? That means take any two elements and check their join and see whether they are going to join of the images or not. Are you following? So this, everyone try this. Okay, you have work. You can do some work. It is interesting, and check which are meet homomorphisms, which are join homomorphisms, and which are homomorphisms. So you can call it, this is phi 1, phi 2, phi 3 if you want. So you call it, this is phi 1, okay, and this is phi 2, this is phi 3. So you should discuss, come with what can you say about phi 1, what can you say about phi 2, what can you say about phi 3. Is this clear? I have already explained phi 1 is not a meet homomorphism. Can it be a join homomorphism? That you have to check. What about this phi 2? You have to check whether it is a meet homomorphism or whether it is a join homomorphism, right? And what can you say about phi 3, right? So we will see in next class if you have any difficulty in this one.